Good evening, folks. Our new Wednesday night with our new show. This is Night Court revisited. Really, we used to do spaces called Night Court, but we're going to do a stream called Night Court. This show's a little different than the grand jury. We're going to show you a criminal trial. We're going to show you a real criminal trial with real defendants, real witnesses in a real courtroom, and using real law. This one in particular comes out of the state of Texas. But we're going to show you just what the jury sees. I've edited it. I've only shown there's no sidebars, no commentary from some news commenter. There's nobody in the hallway that's giving their opinion on this. You are sequestered as the viewer, like the juror is. I'm only going to show you what's called in camera, in front of the jury, all the testimony that the jury heard, all the instructions that the jury received, all the evidence that the jury saw to make their decision. Folks, it's going to take us 4 weeks to get this through, doing an hour each week on Wednesday, same time as we do now. We're just taking the place of our interrogation slot. On the fifth week, we're going to bring in our jurors. All of our jurors this week are our Patreon paid tier, our support members in Patreon. They will be our jurors. We've got a couple of them watching backstage tonight for this first episode. We'll bring all of them in like they do on Survivor, and we're going to hear their deliberations. Once they've deliberated and our mock jury has given their decision from the evidence that they saw, which is exactly the same evidence that the jury saw, we're going to reveal the real jury's decision and the consequences or no consequences as a result of that jury's decision. But Big Ron, I know it's a lot of moving parts. You're still our producer on this show, but what do you think about the concept?
I'll tell you, Joe, I'm really excited about this concept. I think it's going to work out really well. I think the people out there are going to enjoy it. Hopefully we can keep them captivated. But yeah, I'm still in the back pushing the buttons, making sure everything's running the way it should. Keep an eye on the chat. We got our buddy Mayhem out there in the YouTube world, making sure everything's covered there. So I'm looking forward to this, Joe. I'm really excited.
Well, good deal. We're going to get to the video in just a moment. Tonight's show's going to be roughly just under 1 hour. The way the witnesses break up in this, I didn't want to get in the middle of a witness and kill it, and you come pick up on a and have to remember what the beginning part of a witness's testimony was. But we will get through the exact first witness, the reading of the indictment. We're going to hear the defendant's plea, and we're going to hear the state's opening arguments, and we'll hear the defense. Actually, in this case, the defense declined to make an opening argument. But if they had made they had the opportunity to make one, we would have heard it. But we won't hear it in this case. The defense felt it was the best tactic not to give an opening argument. This is going to be the offense of a short barrel firearm, a prohibited firearm in the state of Texas. We're talking about a sawed-off shotgun that a citizen was found in possession of, and the state is prosecuting him for possession of said firearm. Without doing too much more, folks, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. Let's push this out there on our X feed and see if we can't get some fresh eyes on this. This is our new show. Let's get into some testimony.
All right, good morning. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Rarely do I say that because usually we get started in the morning. We are now on record cause number CR 21-98, State of Texas versus Reginald Hoyt Young II. And as I told you yesterday, what we first do this morning is we would present the indictment to the defendant, and then we'll begin with opening statements and the first witness. So at this time, if Mr. Young, if you'll please rise. Mr. Hartwell, if you will present the indictment to Mr. Young.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury for the county of Van Zandt, state of Texas, duly selected, impaneled, sworn, charged, and organized as such at the January term AD 2021 of the 294th Judicial District Court for said county, upon their oaths present in and to said court at said term that Reginald Hoyt Young II, hereinafter styled defendant, on or about November 25th, 2020, and before the presentment of this indictment in the county and state aforesaid, did then and there intentionally or knowingly possess a short barrel firearm, to wit, an Eastern Arms 16 gauge shotgun, against the peace and dignity of the state, signed foreman of the grand jury.
Thank you, Mr. Hartwell. And Mr. Young, how do you enter a plea?
Not guilty.
Not guilty? All right, thank you. You may be seated.
May it please the court, Mr. Stevens. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Been practicing that one all day. I want to thank you all for returning today. I know there's a lot going on right now. I know there's a lot happening in your lives. So we truly appreciate your time and dedication to seeing that the justice system has the opportunity to work. To be really kind of blunt about this case, it's fairly straightforward. On November 25th, you'll hear evidence that deputies with Smith County Sheriff's Office was investigating another incident that happened in Smith County. You'll hear that Mr. Young was not the subject of that investigation. In fact, the subject of that investigation was a man by the name of Russell Melton. However, during the course of their investigation, the deputies with Smith County were led to the property that Mr. Young resided on. You'll hear that they found some evidence from that Smith County incident on the property. And as follow-up, they got a search warrant and searched the property, where they found a sawed-off shotgun. You'll hear evidence that Mr. Young admitted that he in fact did have possession of that sawed-off shotgun. Ladies and gentlemen, by the end of the trial today, tomorrow, we expect that the evidence is going to show that, in fact, on the property in Van Zandt County, where Mr. Young was staying, there was a prohibited weapon, 16-gauge shotgun that was sawed off. And I believe the evidence is going to show to you that Mr. Young was in possession of that shotgun. At the end of this trial, we're going to ask you to find Mr. Young guilty of this offense. Thank you.
All right, before we get to the first witness, I want to make a point. Something that, we do the grand jury on Friday nights, folks. The indictment that you read is the product of a grand jury that listened to the evidence the state presented and decided that there was enough probable cause for this citizen to bear the weight of a prosecution. This is the result of a true bill that we see on Friday nights. Then when folks decide that, this is what happens to it. So we had the reading of the indictment, and that's the official charge. And those are the elements that the state is required to prove to a jury. It was read to the jury, so the jury understands what the indictment is now. They've heard the plea of the defendant. He says that he is not guilty, and he wants his due process, which is a jury of his peers hearing this case. So now we're getting to the first witness. This is a Smith County deputy. That a quick scenario on this, just so you can follow, because it doesn't really come together real well, in my opinion. This is a result of an investigation in one county, Smith County, in the state of Texas, that resulted in Van Zandt County, a neighboring county over. They're investigating a burglary, a house burglary, where there was some high dollar items like gold and gold coins taken. They got information, run down a suspect they were looking for. They were looking for a vehicle this guy was driving, and they find it in they got information that it was in Van Zandt County. They go there, they find that it was in Van Zandt County. They make a contact, write a warrant, notify Van Zandt County Sheriff's Office of their actions going on there. So at that point, it became two agencies working together on this. But this all stimulated out of a burglary offense out of Smith County that took the investigation into Van Zandt County, and that's where this trial is being held right now. So let's go to our first witness.
Good afternoon, Investigator McDonald. Can you please start by introducing yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the court reporter?
Absolutely. Tim McDonald, TIMMCDONALD. And I'm Tim McDonald, an investigator with Smith County Sheriff's Office.
And Investigator McDonald, how long have you been an investigator with Smith County?
Right at about 10 years.
And has that been continuous?
Yes, it has.
So you would have been an investigator with Smith County in 2020?
That's correct.
Did you have any other law enforcement jobs or roles other than investigator with Smith County?
I did. I was a patrol deputy for approximately a year and a half prior to becoming an investigator.
And can you tell me a little bit about how you become a deputy?
Absolutely. Initially, it began with Police Academy. I was a patrol deputy for Smith County Sheriff's Office, and I was promoted to the Criminal Investigation Division in somewhere around November of 2017.
And Investigator McDonald, I want to take you back to November 25th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
I do.
Were you on duty on that day?
Yes, I was.
What was the function of your job that day?
I was a criminal investigator.
And were you conducting any kind of an investigation?
Yes, I was.
Without going into too much extraneous detail, can you tell me what the basics of that investigation was?
Yes, we were investigating a burglary that took place in Smith County.
And was the subject of that investigation an individual by the name of Russell Melton?
Yes, it was.
At some point, did your investigation lead here to Van Zandt County?
Yes, it did.
Where in Van Zandt County did your investigation lead to?
Is it okay if I reference my report for the address?
Would referencing your report refresh your recollection?
Yes, it would.
Go ahead.
We went to multiple addresses on or around VZ County Road 4909 and 4910.
And at some point, where was the end point of the Van Zandt County part of that investigation?
For me, it was that on 4910.
And who lived at that address?
I know that Reginald Young lived there, and there was a female that I believe lived there as well. I cannot recall her name.
And at that address, was that the address that you went to? Was that in Van Zandt County in 2020?
Yes.
And you mentioned a Reginald Young lived there. Do you see him in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you please describe what he is wearing and where he is seated?
He's seated at the table there, and he's wearing a light blue shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect this witness has identified the defendant as Reginald Young?
The record will reflect that this witness has identified the defendant in this case, Reginald Hoyt Young II.
And when you got to that property, what was it that captured your attention there?
There was a vehicle there that we were searching for that belonged to a Michael Ward, I believe his name was, and we came upon it. So that's what brought us to that location.
And at some point, did you find Michael Ward?
Yes, we did.
And did you also see Mr. Young there?
Yes, we did.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the case developed upon arrival?
We were able to locate some of the evidence directly related to our burglary in Smith County on that property.
As a result of finding some of that evidence, what was the next step that you took?
The next step was to generate a search warrant for the property to search for more evidence in our burglary that occurred in Smith County.
And can you kind of describe that property for me, like buildings, vehicles, things like that?
Yes, there was on that property, there was a mobile home. There was an RV parked and set up very close to the motorhome or the mobile home. There was a Mustang that we already discussed, and there was also an orange, I'd say a mid-sized SUV, Dodge Nitro.
And were you able to determine, you said a mobile home and an RV, were you able to determine who lived in what area?
Yes, we did.
And were you able to determine where Mr. Young lived?
Yes, we did.
Where did he live?
Mr. Young lived in the RV that was next to the mobile home.
And throughout this process, did you ever notify Van Zant County law enforcement?
Yes, as a common courtesy, we did.
And what was their response to being notified?
They arrived on scene shortly thereafter.
And you mentioned earlier that you got a search warrant put together. Were you able to execute that search warrant?
Yes, we were.
What was found as a result of the search warrant?
We located a firearm that was found to be a violation of Texas law.
And Investigator McDonald, do you recall what happened with the firearm that you found?
I do not.
At that point, were you as a Smith County deputy interested in firearms or anything like that?
No, I was not.
Do you know if Van Zant County law enforcement who was there was interested?
I believe they were.
Your Honor, state passes the witness.
Mr. Stevens, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator McDonald, I'm Bill Stevens, going to ask some questions. If I don't make myself clear, just please stop me, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Now, how did you derive at the fact that Mr. Young lived at that travel trailer?
By his own words.
By his own words, did he tell you that?
I was present during the interview that he was giving.
Okay. Did y'all, when you searched the property, did you find his clothing, shoes, clothing, underwear, things of that, like that, in the travel trailer?
I don't remember exactly what all was found. I remember we found other evidence. It's been 4 years since that day, so I'm not quite sure exactly.
Other than his statement, was there any evidence that you found that tied him to that travel trailer?
Yes.
What was that?
His vehicle parked.
His vehicle?
His vehicle was parked in the vicinity.
Okay. So because his vehicle's parked there, that means he lives there?
And his own testimony.
Now, your investigation, he was not the target of your investigation, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
He was not.
And to your knowledge, was he arrested for anything other than the sawed-off shotgun?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. What was the investigation all about that led you out to that location?
It was a burglary of a habitation that occurred in Smith County.
And what kind of property were y'all actually looking for?
We were looking for gold, coins, and other precious metals, firearms, and items that were specifically taken from that specific residence in Smith County.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator McDonald, we kind of danced around it earlier, but with the property that was stolen from the burglary, what was it that you located at this property?
Located a firearm. Oh, of the
From the burglary.
from our burglary in Smith County. I'm sorry. We located several gold coins.
And do you know approximately how many?
I believe around 10.
And where did you locate those?
We located those inside the orange Dodge Nitro.
And that's the Dodge Nitro that you said belonged to Mr. Young?
That's correct.
And you mentioned earlier that you overheard him state that he lived on the property. Can you clarify the circumstances around that statement?
Yes, he was willing to speak to detectives and other officers there. And while he was talking, he advised that the the RV travel trailer was where he resided.
And Your Honor, state passes the witness.
Mr. Stevens.
Investigator, who was it, the Dodge Nitro titled in? Whose name was it titled in?
I'm not sure who it was titled to.
What, did you run a report on it?
I'm sure somebody did. I that was not my part of the investigation.
Ask witness, Your Honor.
Charlotte.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any objection to Investigator McDonald being finally excused?
Your Honor, we would ask subject to recall, but no objection to him going back to Smith County and just being within phone call.
Mr. Stevens.
No objection, Judge.
All right. So Investigator McDonald, you're not.
All right, that's your testimony. That's a reading of the indictment. That's the plea of the defendant and the first witness's testimony, which was the Smith County deputy that initiated an investigation at a location in Van Zandt County and subsequently turned up a short-barreled shotgun. We've got two of our witnesses for this case. And folks, if you're just joining in, this is a new format. We'll see a little bit this week. We'll see the next witness the following week. And in 4 weeks, we will have seen this entire trial up until the jury's verdict. Our jury, this first episode or the first series, I should say, is going to be our Patreon support tier members. We have 2 in our studio. We're going to bring them up in a minute and get a little chit chat about what we've seen so far. But at the end of this, prior to the jury's verdict, the real jury's verdict, our mock jury is going to weigh all the evidence they've seen. They've seen everything that our jury has seen and give their decision, and we'll see how they match up. But right now, I hope I've given Fred and Moon Goddess enough warning to get their makeup on and get their hair did, because I'm going to bring you guys on stage. There's Moon Goddess, and then we have Fred Merck. Moon Goddess, how's your audio? Do you have us?
Love it. It's great.
There we go. How about Fred? Your audio working?
Present and accounted for.
Well, tell me what your first impression is off of what you've seen. Is it what you expected out of a criminal trial so far?
So far, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
so, Fred? Not too dry? I mean, it's a little dry, right?
It's not dry. It just seems cut and dry, really.
Well, it's going to get more interesting as it goes. Remember, this is the first witness that the state's called. We watched direct examination, which is the state gets to ask the first question. It's their witness. We saw the state pass it off. We heard the defense ask his questions. Then we had what's called redirect. The defense gets a chance to come back and ask more questions and maybe clean up something that the defense was able to reveal or poke a hole into. And then we saw the defense come back on what's called redirect or cross redirect, where they get to do it twice. And then we saw our witness dismissed from the witness stand. He didn't really get into, now he talked about a short barrel shotgun. He didn't really get into much of that. Does that bother any of you guys, since he was the first lead? He started this shit. He started it by going to that address and identifying it as an address or a location or persons that were involved in a burglary. Does that touch anybody in a certain place?
Go ahead, Moon.
Not really. Just I'm still on the receiving information mindset.
The only problem I have really is with the defendant. Why was he speaking with the police before, or at least retaining an attorney? That's what I don't understand.
He's a free American. He was given his rights, and he decided not to. So that's really not for. You don't want to get down the road too much on that, Fred. If you're
Gotcha.
you know
Gotcha.
what I mean,
Gotcha.
maybe not the wisest thing, but I don't know that it would have changed a whole lot in this situation once you hear all the evidence. they're gonna now the next week I'll give you a preview for next week. Next week you're gonna hear Van Zant, lead investigator. He's gonna get on the stand. He's gonna bear most of the brunt of this investigation, because if you're on the defense, you're looking at, man, you're not even looking for my guy. My guy shows up there, and the defense is going to maintain that he doesn't live there, that he was there. It's his mother's house. He was there kind of visiting, but he was just a guest. He wasn't, he doesn't live there and doesn't own anything that may be on the properties. What they're going to contend, the defense is going to contend, they're going to put up a fight for it. And we're going to get to see that next week. It gets better. Your first witness is always a little bit setting the foundation portion of it, but the next week we're even going to hear from the defendant's mother on the nature of this property. They're going to talk about the functionality of the firearm, this 70-year-old shotgun that was sawed off and found in on the property. They hadn't revealed where they found it yet, so I'm gonna hold that just yet until next week. You'll hear that with next week's testimony. But Big Ron, first debut premiere show of this new format. What do you think? What do you think about the case?
Well, I think it starts off like any case does, and I want everybody to know that every case is going to start off kind of dry, so don't judge that. Once they get all the formalities out of the way, as we start getting into the meat and potatoes, and things will pick up, and hopefully we'll get to see some fireworks as this case progresses. It sounds like it's going to be a good case. We've got stolen property, firearms, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. And guys, this will be every Wednesday night, 9 p.m., just like this. Next week's show will be a little longer. The witness, I was explaining to my producer, I just can't put the two witnesses together in a single episode and get it under an hour. The next witness is up there for just about an hour himself, but he gets into a lot more of it. I'm going to warn you, there's a recording that they made on scene of this interview. I'm going to edit most of that out. You can't understand it. There's so much echo in the courtroom, but they do talk about the poor audio, and they talk about what is in there, and it's not disputed by the defense. So I guess we can take that as as good as a recording, because they talk about what was said in this exchange on this interview at the house, and that's going to be a key point. But aside from that, you'll see the shotgun. You'll see all the evidence that the state bears about this shotgun. And you'll hear what the defense says about it and what witnesses the defense calls. All that's coming in the upcoming weeks. Folks, I don't know that I'm going to apologize for the shortness of the show, but that's really all there is this week. We're going to put it on for next week. Give us about 20 minutes. We'll have an after party on X and get in there with our folks there and see what they think about it. And there, you jurors who are not supposed to discuss this, you can go into space and discuss it. We'll relax that rule for our mock grand jury.
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
Great.
Thanks, Big Ron, for getting this set up. Moon Goddess and Fred, love you guys on Patreon. For you other folks watching Patreon, if you want to be up here next week, just let me know. I'll get you a link and we'll have you in. We can have a few of our Patreon members watching backstage and giving some comments after each episode. But the finale on this is going to be the big one. Everybody's coming in and everybody's going to bring their opinions, and that's what I'm super excited for. All right, folks, join us on X. Give us about 20 minutes. If you want a direct invite to it, shoot myself a DM, shoot Big Ron a DM. If you're not following Big Ron, you should be. If you're not following Moon Goddess, I believe it is Moon Goddess on X. And Fred, are you Fred on X, or who are you on X?
I'm at Fred Merck 65, all caps.
There we go. At Fred Merck 65 on X. Give him a follow. Fred's a good guy. He and I do a lot of chit-chatting about the things and the natures of the world. State of the world is what I should say. All right, folks, we'll see you on X about 20 minutes.